with you. I'm sure that you, just like me, are wondering what kinds of things are going to happen this fall as we set to return to school. And I can tell you that we have been working hard here at Falcon Ridge to develop a plan to open school up this fall and see each other once again for learning. This opening plan has been submitted and shared with our board, and the board approved this Tuesday evening, July 14th. It was also shared with our faculty and staff yesterday. We know that this is a time with many questions and unknowns, and we will do our best to navigate this fall. Let's take a minute to start with our mission statement. Even during a pandemic, Falcon Ridge strives to develop students who are competent, productive, and responsible by promoting academic skills and character to succeed in life. We will remain flexible so that we may respond as needed to protect our community. Research tells us, and we know, that students learn best here at school. We're designed for teaching them here as a brick and mortar school, and we strive to make sure that we have high expectations academically, but also regarding citizenship and character. Please know that besides academics, we also desire to make students safe. Our goal is that students are learning and safe. With that being in mind and being said, we need to be creative and flexible in our instruction and school operations, while also being responsible fiscally. We are stewards of the resources we have, and we want to make things work for students. We also are being respectful of the guidelines from the CDC, as well as the Central District Health. We had a visit last week with our Central District Health School Liaison, who conducted a building walkthrough with us, looked at classrooms, and gave us assurances of our reopening. And we want to provide the services necessary to ensure that our students and staff can be safe and successful. We are committed to families. As I mentioned before, we want to continue high academic standards in the coming year. We also want to be empathetic and respectful of each individual's choices. We know that there are differing viewpoints and perspectives during this time of COVID. We want to be compassionate as we listen and respect the input that we receive. We thank you for taking time to fill out the surveys both in the spring and then again last week. We also shared surveys with our staff, and we are working on utilizing your input as we move forward. We desire to be transparent and timely in our communications. As we receive updates from Central District Health, we will contact you and make sure you have the latest information. We also want to provide you, our students, and staff training as we adapt to this changing environment. We're committed to partnering. As I mentioned earlier, we are taking your feedback from those surveys, and we're working on developing a parent guide as well as a parent Q&A form that will attempt to answer and respond to as best we can the questions that you have been sharing with us. You can look for the parent guide to be coming out soon. We're also working on a staff guide for our faculty and staff as they return with many questions. And we'll be using the input that they've shared with us both in person, both as an opening plan committee and from the surveys that we've received. Central District Health has been keeping us updated, and we will be checking in weekly as they post updates on their website. We're also partnering with Treasure Valley Schools. We've been so fortunate to have a relationship with the CUNA District, and they have graciously shared their opening plan and resources with us. And we are looking at charter schools in Nampa and other districts, partnering so that we can share information and resources as we navigate this together. We've also looked at the guidance provided by the governor and the Idaho Back to School framework. So this is the information that really pertains to us. We're going to be utilizing the same system as the CUNA district and the local health district, which is a green, yellow, red. Green indicates that there's really low to no spread of this COVID in our area. Yellow means that there's minimal to moderate spread. That would be a proceed carefully at school with precautions. Red would indicate that there's substantial spread, and we would continue as we did in the spring with an online format or a hybrid format so that we can best keep our population safe. We are planning as of today to proceed in the yellow as we start school, and that's what I'll primarily be addressing today is looking at returning with this minimal to moderate spread and what can we expect in school. So let's just look at some reminders. As we partner together, it's so important that we both are familiar with the protocols for keeping ourselves safe and preventing the spread of COVID in and out of school. And of course, the first is just stressing hand washing and hygiene. We will do our part to train students, give reminders, have daily procedures and routines. We've ordered signs to post throughout the restrooms for students to remember good hand washing. And then, of course, at home, we ask that you partner with us and do the same by reminding your students to hand wash. Next are the face masks, and we know from our survey data that folks have such differing viewpoints on masks. We received surveys from several families that indicated if masks are required, they do not want to send their students to school. On the flip side, we received survey data from parents that said if masks are not worn, they don't feel comfortable sending their students back. We are getting the same responses, I think, as the community. Now, we will follow the guidelines that are given to us by Central District Health, and most recently in Ada County, masks have been mandated. If that is the case when we start school, we'll follow the recommendations. Otherwise, we will strongly recommend the use of face coverings when possible. We'll also implement physical distance where doable. We will do our best to keep our students distanced, and we'll talk more about that in the learning portion. We are increasing our cleaning and sanitizing throughout the day and at the end of the day. We are following recommendations based on the CDC, and we'll be keeping in line with what they have advised us to do, as well as our Central District Health Liaison walkthrough. She gave us some great pointers last week, and we will follow those. And finally, we must insist that sick people stay home, whether that's students or faculty or staff, and that will be our new normal this fall. So as I mentioned, with wellness, there are some things as we proceed in the yellow zone. We will update common protocols to follow if someone is sick. We'll be sharing documentation with you that takes you through a process of what steps to take. We will also, that's called the decision tree. We will also identify an isolation space if someone comes down with symptoms, and we've already done so. This will be a place away from students and staff where a student can wait to be picked up for the day without contaminating others. We've also already ordered signs for placing around the school to keep us safe, and we have hand washing stations as well as hand sanitizing stations that are portable that can be moved throughout the building, and we'll make sure each classroom is equipped with hand sanitizer as well as a protocol to use. We are modifying our attendance policy so that students and staff, if absent, will have special provisions for staying home. And finally, Mrs. C, our school counselor, is working on addressing the social emotional well-being of staff and students. She'll be training us this fall, and we know that students and staff may have some anxiety, and we want to focus on the whole child. If we proceed in the yellow zone as planned, extracurricular activities may look different, and those will be updated as we get more information. For those who can't attend in person, we are asking, if your family does not feel comfortable coming back to school, to keep in mind that while we are making plans to offer emergency distance learning, we are not an online school. We are a brick and mortar school, and we will do our best for teachers to record their lessons, upload, and then provide those at the end of the day for a student who is absent. They will also upload assignments so the student can submit. We will need partnership with this process. Assignments will be graded, and we will ask that parents make sure students watch the recordings, students know how to use those tools, and submit their lessons in a timely manner. We also ask that students and families will commit to a 9-week time. If students are going to be online, we ask that you commit to the full 9 weeks this quarter so that students aren't bouncing back and forth, but rather have a consistent plan, whether that's staying home or staying in school. When we talk about meals, they'll look a little different. Our Central District Health Liaison walked through with us and took a look at our lunchroom as well as our kitchen and our protocols. We're so fortunate that we already use disposable trays, napkins, and cutlery, so those can stay the same. We will, however, move all items behind the serving line, and our servers will be wearing masks and gloves, and our students won't be touching items as they go through the line to prevent germs. We'll also have hand washing before and after meals. We'll stagger lunchtime so that students are not gathered all together at a table, and we will make sure we have social distancing while they go through the lunch line. We met with Brown Bus Company this week, and they shared their protocols for the buses. We understand that students will be mixed again when they get on the buses, and Brown Bus will be following the recommendation put forth by the state in the framework for school reopening. Such things as loading the bus from back to front, cleaning and sanitizing the bus each day, providing hand sanitizer for students and driver, as well as requiring masks for driver and students. We encourage students to make sure and stay in their assigned seat with their siblings. Now, with that being said, the buses will be full, maybe full. This might be a time for you to drive, have your student walk or ride their bike, just to eliminate so many students on the bus at one time. School operations and facilities. The main office is going to be installing a plexiglass screen. They'll be cleaning each day. We're going to be ever so careful with visitors. We have those locked doors, and our office ladies are going to be careful about letting anyone in. Masks will be required, and we may have a time at this beginning where visitors are asked to stay out behind that glass so that we don't bring in any germs. We'll provide hand sanitizer in all the classrooms, hand sanitizing portable carts, as I mentioned, and then we're making sure that we have clear signage for entry and exits in the building, social distancing, as well as we're modifying parent nights and times where we might have large group gatherings. Speaking of which, back to school night will look a little different. We're going to have a virtual back to school night rocks, which will be an engaging online format, and we'll have a chance for students to bring their supplies on that first day. And again, it will look a little different, but we want to provide for you the same information. Again, just a reminder about the prevention in and out of school, making sure that we have those safety protocols in place for students. And finally, student instruction. Student instruction as we proceed in the yellow will look a little different. We are proactively beginning a one-to-one device for each student. We've just ordered enough Chromebooks to make sure that every student has access to the technology they need. And we will assign Chromebooks at the beginning of the year so that students are not sharing and spreading those germs. We will make sure that we integrate online learning in the classroom so that Google Classroom is set up right away, and we'll train those students how to sign in, use the online tools, as well as how to submit online assignments. We have heard your feedback and know that you do not want too many tools for your students because it's difficult when you have more than one child. And we will do our best to streamline the assignments and lessons that the teachers upload. We will also be removing non-essential furniture from the classrooms and spreading them out as best we can. We are going to be placing the students in cohorts or family groups. Some people call them pods. These are small groups of 5 to 10 students. These students will stay together throughout the day, whether it's learning in the classroom, going to lunch, specials, or recess, or even passing periods. Our CDH liaison recommended this as well as the CDC, and this is what other districts in our area are doing. This will enable students to be here in the building, and while their cohort will stay together, they'll be distanced from other students. And this is how we plan to start as we proceed carefully at the beginning. We will modify classes that would normally have a large group and keep them in those family groups. Now, if for some reason we go to the red zone, then we will continue as we did in the spring with online at-home learning, where teachers upload lessons and assignments. Grades will be taken during this time, and we will ask that all parents partner with us to ensure that quality instruction and learning is taking place. If allowed, we could possibly have small groups on campus during this time. We will be closely monitoring Central District Health guidelines as they update once a week, and we will keep you informed. Finally, our next steps. As I mentioned earlier, the board approved this plan on July 14th. The plan then went before faculty and staff, and please note that we have formed an opening plan committee, which includes maintenance, food services, board member, our board chair, our office staff, teachers, and myself. We want to look at every aspect of reopening, and your child's safety and high academic standards are our top priority. You can be watching in the coming weeks for a parent guide to reopening, as well as a parent Q&A. We will share the questions that we've received and the feedback in this format, and we hope to answer all of them in this Q&A document. Be watching in the next week for a special email address that will be specifically for COVID-related questions, rather than emailing teachers, board, and myself. That way we can have it in one place, and we will get the best answers and the timeliest answers we can to you. Again, we are having to be so flexible and creative and positive to this time, and we so appreciate your partnering with us. Please watch for communication in the days to come, and we so thank you and look forward to being together once again. Have a wonderful day.